Hey guys, so welcome back to another vlog. So in this vlog we're going to be talking about something interesting and important. So for the past 2 months since I got this bike, or for the past 1 month since I became active on YouTube, the one question that a lot of people have asked me was, why did you get the Dominar 400 in 2024? You do have a choice of so many other motorcycles, but still, why go for the Dominar over anything else? Well, to be honest, there are a few things that I might say which might be completely subjective. Like, you might have a different idea about it, but this is not a review, but this is my personal opinion on why did I get the Dominar 400 instead of the competition. Let's get started. So first things first, let's get the cons out of the way, because every bike is going to have pros and cons. No bike is perfect. Let's get the cons out of the way. I'm starting up with the cons because there are just two, and the two of them are: number one, the vibration. The vibration is something that could really annoy a lot of people, because this bike in lower RPMs, especially in the city where you're going to be driving it the most, has got a lot of vibrations. And if you could live with that, well, that's not a con. But if you are someone who likes better revving motorcycles which do not vibrate, well, this bike is not for you for sure. And the next con, the con number two, is this bike's heavy. Well, it's not light at all, it is heavy. It comes in at 193 kilos dry, and I think it goes all the way up to 197 or something wet. That is once you have fuel and everything else. And with a pillion on, it's gonna go up to probably 250, 260, because I weigh in around 70 to 75 kilos, and with me on the bike, I think it is somewhere around 270 kilos odd. But if that is not going to be a matter to you, this bike is actually sorted, because to be honest, the weight or the vibration actually doesn't bother me a lot, because the vibrations, yes, they are there, but they just go away once you cross 4,000 RPM, and from then on the bike is really smooth. And now, talking about the pros of this motorcycle, the first thing is obviously the engine. This is the first iteration of the KTM 390 engine, that is for sure. A lot of people would know that already. So it roughly produces somewhere around 40 to 43 HP of power, which is more than adequate for a 400cc bike, which is mostly going to be driven in the city, and for occasional highway runs like this, I feel it is more than enough. The engine is a gem. It doesn't stress out, and I've been using it for close to 2 months now, and I have somewhere around 1,000 kilometers already on the bike. So I think I am in a good state to actually tell a review about it right now. And the second thing is the weight. Yes, the weight is a pro and a con. Let me tell you why. See, when you get a motorcycle which is a 400cc motorcycle, let's say like the Duke, when you're hitting it on the highways and you're going really fast, something like this, now I'm going somewhere around 80 kilometers per hour, and you're taking up high speeds, the bikes generally will become wobbly if you are not too heavy, especially lighter motorcycles. This one, because of the weight, stays so planted to the ground that you actually don't feel like that wobbliness or something like that is never going to be an issue at all, because it is so well built. And the second thing is going to be the suspension. The suspension is so well tuned. Like, this is not adjustable suspension. It comes out from the company as stock suspension, and it is going to remain that way for the rest of the time, unless and until you go for a suspension upgrade. But if you ask me, should you go for a suspension upgrade in the Dominar 400, I would say no, because it has already got pretty decent suspension. And in the city, undulations and potholes, they are taken care pretty well, but on the highway it is just excellent. And the way the bike performs in corners, especially for the weight and the wheelbase that this bike has got, is pretty darn good. and that credit also goes to the suspension as well as the tires that this one is using. This one is using the MR Zappers, and they are pretty sticky rubber, but I wouldn't say full 100% for that, because you do get better tires. So if you are a person who goes a lot of corner craving, especially in a bike like this, which is a power cruiser, which Bajaj says, you should actually upgrade and get better, let's say better rubber in the form of better tires. And the next good thing that I really like about this bike is the headlights. The headlight is so good. It is a complete LED unit. Bajaj does really good headlights, but if you compare it between the Dominar and also the new NS400, I find the Dominar's headlight to be really better, because the illumination that this headlight provides in the night when it's completely dark is pretty amazing, and the low beam and high beam just work like a gem. And I don't think that there is any other headlight unit that looks and performs as good as this one. The main reason why I spoke about the looks came out was, like, guys, I'll be honest, this bike is not brand new. This bike was released in 2017, if I'm not wrong, 2016 to 17, that period. That was the time when I got my first bike. That was a 200 NS, because I couldn't really afford Dominar at that time. That time it was roughly selling for somewhere around 180 to 190 in Bangalore. Well, now the bike's price has gone way higher than that. It's twice as expensive as the price that it was launched, but it's been upgraded a lot. But for a bike that was released almost 5+ years ago, the Dominar 400 looks excellent even in today's day and age. So is there any bike that looks better than the Dominar in this 400cc category? Well, yes, looks are subjective, but for me, the Duke 390, the latest one, looks killer, is an excellent performer. But at the same time, the first place is going to go for the Duke for the performance and for almost everything, including the looks. But if there is any other bike that is going to be cost efficient, still gives you 400cc, still is great in power and looks darn good, it has to be this one, the Dominar 400. And that's about the bike, and I really feel that you guys should have got an idea about how this bike is and how it rides and how it performs. I really don't have any issue with it. Well, if there's one more question that we can answer in this not so review about the Dominar 400 is kitna deti hai, because a lot of people are really concerned about the mileage of the bike. Well, as soon as I picked it up and until the first service, it was giving me somewhere around roughly 18 to 20 kilometers in the city. I really didn't take it out to the highways that time, and there are so many theories that okay, the bike needs to get the first service done, that is when it's going to be really good on mileage and all of that. Well, I really don't know, because I really don't care about how much mileage the bike is giving unless and until we have a really long stretch of road with no petrol bunks in. That is when I am concerned about the mileage, but other than that, I really don't give a damn about the mileage. But it is a good 20 to 22 in the city, maybe realistically, and around 25 to 27 in the highway. That is the mileage, that is between what the mileage basically lies. So if you're really concerned about the mileage in a 400cc motorcycle, well, there's that. So the next thing is actually the elephant in the room, and that is the competition. Because when this bike was released, it had just one competitor which it had to compete against, and that was the KTM Duke 390. There was literally nothing else that was going up against the Bajaj Dominar 400. So it was a really good buy. But now in 2024, when you have the new gen Himalayan 450, you have the Triumph Twins, which is the Street 400 and the Scrambler 400, as well as you have a sibling for the Dominar, which is the NS 400 in Bajaj stable itself. And of course you have the Duke 390, the latest 2024 model. Well, if you ask me, out of all of these bikes, there are just 3 bikes that come in direct competition to the Bajaj Dominar 400, and that is, the first one is of course going to be its sibling, which is the NS 400Z from Bajaj. I don't know why the Z is there, but still it is there. Bajaj will definitely let us know really soon, which is a street fighter. And then you've got the Duke 390, which is also a naked street fighter. And then you've got the Triumph 400 street, the Speed 400 actually. So these three bikes are there. The NS I didn't want to go for because I already had a 200 NS. It was the same bike with a different engine, and the wheelbase is a little more shorter than the previous 200 NS actually. So it didn't really impress me a lot because I'm quite familiar with that frame. I wanted to get a new bike. And the next one, which was an excellent choice, which was in the same price bracket, was the Triumph Speed 400. I just keep getting confused between Triumph Street and Speed. Okay, the Speed 400. And the reason why I didn't go for the Speed 400 was, well, it was a retro classic motorcycle, and you know, looks and tastes are subjective. It is a great motorcycle, handles really well, the suspension is great, it's got less vibrations, but at the same time it is a retro classic, and I'm not a guy who is really into retro classic motorcycles. So the the Speed 400 really did not impress me when it came to only the looks department. But if you just want to go ahead and get a bike which performs really good in the city and out on the highways for quick sprint runs, and as well as for everyday street city usage, I think the Speed 400 is the best choice for you. And beg you not, it is not the same engine as the 400 Dominar 400 or the Duke 390. Triumph is done modifications to the engine, and it is a completely different engine which performs completely different. It is nowhere close or just like the Dominar or the Duke 390 basically. So I left out two bikes in that, and that was the Himalayan 450 and the Triumph Scrambler 450. The main reason why I left out those two motorcycles were, see, the Himalayan is an ADV, and you have to get an ADV only if you're traveling tons and if you're going to go and tackle many off-road terrains. And the same goes for the Triumph Scrambler 400 basically. The main reason being that these bikes are meant to be revved under hard circumstances, and they are built like a tank. I'm not saying no. Well, I'm not a guy who's gonna go for a lot of off-road runs or travel very often because I'm very new to motorcycling basically. So when it comes to a person like me, does the Himalayan and the Scrambler 400 make any sense? Actually no. Well, the place I'm going for actually is, I had a little work which had to be done in Birdi, so that is the reason for the run. Well, there. So that's that. And the next thing that I would like to talk about is your preferences, guys. Like basically, if you want to go and get a motorcycle or a car, you can look at tons of reviews, but at the end, don't actually choose or decide without going ahead and having a first hands-on experience with the machine. Let it be a bike or a car, because when I decided to go ahead and buy the motorcycle, which is this one, the Bajaj Dominar 400, 99% of the reviews were actually against it. It is too heavy for a 400cc, it vibrates a ton, the mileage is not that great, economically it's too weak, and there are literally no electronics other than dual channel ABS. Well, all of that, did it get into my mind and did it mess up my mind? Yes, up to a limit it did. But then I decided, okay, so we've got 5 bikes in the same range, let's go ahead and test drive all of them. So we went ahead and test drove almost all the bikes, and those were the Duke 390, which was the first one, and the Himalayan 450, and then the Triumph Twins, which was the Speed 400, and the Scrambler 400. We went ahead and test drive all the bikes. And there were things that I loved in all these bikes, and there were things that I hated in all these bikes. And one common thing was, well, the biggest disadvantage that most people say of the Dominar is it doesn't have any electronics, like quite literally no electronic aids. Well, that is something that I really don't like, where it comes to a 400cc motorcycle, basically a 350 to 400cc motorcycle, because these electronic aids are not going to be doing anything so drastically different unless and until you're going to be having a bike that is as powerful as the Duke 390, because that one's a beast. So that bike, electronics actually makes sense. But when it comes to the 400 Pulsar NS 400Z, I really don't think electronics are going to be making a major difference if you have them or not, except for the dual channel ABS. Well, the riding modes, they mess up the entire engine's performance, because why would you go ahead and get a 400cc motorcycle and drive it in the basic city mode or eco mode or whatever they call it? Each manufacturer has got a different way of calling their modes. And if you want to put it up into the most powerful mode, you have niggles. You can turn on this, you can turn on that, or this doesn't work in that, doesn't work in this. The economy changes, all of that are there. But when it comes to this bike, there are literally no electronics. I ride it the way I want it to and the way I like it. So that was one thing that also promoted me to thinking that this would be a better motorcycle for me. So the same way, what I was coming to say is, in case if you guys want to get a new bike, or let it be a car also, go and have first-hand experience with a machine. And the only place where these reviews are going to help you out with is only to give you an idea of what this bike exactly is, how much power is it producing, what is going to be the cost, and what are the equipment that I use, and how was the build quality. And all of these things are going to be the first-hand experiences that these reviews are basically going to be providing you. Post that, it's your choice. Just don't trust the reviews blindly. So yeah, as I was telling, don't trust the reviews blindly. Go have first-hand experience with the bike or a car, and then decide on what's best for you, just like I did. So that way it would be a better deciding factor for you guys which motorcycle or bike you should be choosing. So that is it from me for this video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. The support for the past 2 weeks that I've started creating content has actually been amazing, and I'm really liking what I'm doing and the kind of support that you guys are showing in, support as well as concern that you guys are showing in. I really appreciate it, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be creating content like this for more years to come. So thank you so much for that. I really enjoy the support that you guys are showing. So if you guys really like this video, go ahead and like it, subscribe if that is something that you guys can do after watching the video. That would be really helpful, and share it to fellow motorheads who is looking to get a bike or is really interested in getting a Dominar. Probably it would help them, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. So like, comment, let me know something that you guys need to tell me, or if you have any questions for me, and share it, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.